All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're tackling something that's a huge headache for anyone working with data engineering. Honestly, sometimes it feels like you're just stuck in a complex maze. We're going to break down how Databricks is trying to give everyone a map, and maybe even turn that maze into a masterpiece. So let's just dive right into the core question, because it's something data pros wrestle with every single day. We're drowning in data, right? More of it than ever before. So why does it feel like it's getting harder to actually do something useful with it? It's kind of a paradox, isn't it?
Okay, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the modern data challenge itself, then the new foundation built to solve it, the Lakehouse. After that, we'll get into the engine, which is called Lakeflow, see how you can ingest, transform, and orchestrate. And finally, we'll talk about the payoff, why any of this actually matters to you.
So first up, the modern data challenge. And yeah, the data maze is a perfect way to describe it. We're talking about the crazy complexity of just trying to build and maintain all these different data systems and get them to, actually talk to each other. It's a lot.
And really, the heart of the issue comes down to this old split. You've got your super structured data for BI sitting in a data warehouse over on one side. Then, on the other side, you've got this massive data lake with all your messy, unstructured data for AI and machine learning. And because they're separate, you end up with teams working from different versions of the truth. It just slows everything down, makes things unreliable. It's a recipe for confusion.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, the big idea here is to completely rethink the foundation. We need a new kind of architecture.
So think about it this way. The old way forced you to make a choice. Do you want the structure and reliability of a data warehouse for your business analytics, or the flexibility and scale of a data lake for your AI projects? The new way says, why choose? The whole goal is to create a single unified platform that gives you the best of both worlds.
And that brings us to this key idea, the data lakehouse. Now, this is more than just a fancy new name. It's a really fundamental shift in how we think about data architecture. The whole point is to have one single source of truth, one place for all your data, all your analytics, and all your AI.
All right, so we've got the foundation, the Lakehouse. Now let's look at the engine that actually makes it run, specifically for data engineering.
And that engine is called Lakeflow. Think of it as the complete toolkit for data teams. The goal here is to be truly end-to-end, meaning it helps you deliver high-quality, reliable data for pretty much anything you need. BI, AI, you name it.
So how does it actually work? Well, Lakeflow breaks down the whole data engineering process into three really logical steps: ingest, transform, and orchestrate.
It's a pretty intuitive workflow when you think about it. First things first, you got to get your data into the system. That's ingest, using something called Lakeflow Connect. Then you have to clean it and shape it into something useful. That's transform with Lakeflow SDP. And finally, you need to make sure all of this runs automatically and reliably. That's orchestrate, handled by Lakeflow jobs. So let's dig into each one of those.
All right, step one, getting the data in. This is where Lakeflow Connect comes in, and honestly, the magic words here are managed connectors. Anyone who's ever had to build a custom data connector knows what a nightmare it can be. They're brittle, they break, it's a huge time sink. The idea here is to give you pre-built, fully managed connectors to all your common sources, which just gets rid of so much of that operational headache.
Okay, once the data's in, it's time to transform it. This is handled by Lakeflow SDP, which stands for Spark Declarative Pipelines. Now, that word declarative is super important. It's the difference between telling your GPS exactly which streets to turn on versus just telling it your destination and letting it figure out the best route. You just define what you want your final data to look like, and the system handles the how. This makes your pipeline so much easier to build and manage.
And a key piece of this declarative approach is something called streaming tables. See, in the old days, we often thought of data as a big file we load once a day. But that's not the reality anymore, right? Data is a constant, never-ending stream. Streaming tables are designed from the ground up to handle this continuous, incremental flow of data automatically. It's a huge deal for building modern pipelines.
And last but not least, you need to actually run all this stuff. That's where Lakeflow Jobs comes in. It's basically the conductor of the orchestra. You've written the music with your ingestion and transformation pipelines, and now Lakeflow Jobs make sure every part plays on time and in sync. It can handle everything from a simple notebook to complex machine learning training, and it makes sure it all runs reliably out there in the real world.
So, to pull it all together, here are those three pillars one more time. You've got Lakeflow Connect to get the data in with managed connectors. You've got Lakeflow SDP to transform it using things like streaming tables, and you've got Lakeflow Jobs to orchestrate the whole workflow from start to finish. Ingest, transform, orchestrate. Simple as that.
Okay, so that's the how. Well, what about the why? What's the real payoff here? We've simplified the process, sure, but what does that actually let you do?
It really all comes down to this one huge thing, a single, reliable source of truth. That's the Holy Grail. It means everyone in the organization is working from the same playbook, which gets rid of all that inconsistency and confusion we talked about at the very beginning. And once you have that solid foundation, well, that's when you get to do all the fun stuff. You can power reliable business intelligence and analytics that people actually trust. You can properly fuel your machine learning and AI initiatives. You can even get into the really cutting-edge stuff like customizing large language models with your own unique data. It just opens up so many doors.
But here's where it gets really cool. The platform itself is actually getting smarter. Databricks is baking in generative AI to help it understand the specific patterns and meanings, the semantics of your data. What does that mean for you? It means the platform can start helping you out, suggesting ways to optimize performance, manage resources, and even help you write and debug your code. It's pretty amazing.
And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. When you stop spending all your time just fighting to keep a complex, fragile system running, when data engineering stops being a maze and starts being a solid foundation, you're not just solving an old problem. You're freeing up all that time and energy to focus on what's next. So the real question is, if your pipelines were this simple and reliable, what amazing thing could you build?